This is the Sisterhood Society podcast, where three sisters talk life, food, fashion, kids, and everything in between. Become part of our sisterhood where everyone is welcome at our table. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sisterhood Society podcast. We had a little hiatus, which we will get into shortly, but we are so excited to be back. And first, we kind of wanted to give you guys an update about the business, because I know on social media you've been seeing like bits and pieces of us on social, but it's been a little quiet. Do you guys want to tell them what we did?
Well, you can't really tell from this picture. Yeah. We are back to the basement. So, actually I had a couple of people reach out once I posted about us moving out of the warehouse that were like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. I was wondering why you haven't been on social. And I was like, well, I've been up to my eyeballs and moving bins. So, but our lease was up on the building, and it was, we had been there for 4 years, and the space has just been too big since COVID. And so we knew that we needed to make a change, but we didn't know exactly what we were doing just yet. And so it came up like 2 weeks ago that we could work with an Amazon fulfillment center and also continue to do our dropship program. And so that's what we decided to move forward with. So since we found that out last minute, we had basically 9 days to get moved out of the building, which was a race to the finish. I said to Mom, I'm like, I feel like we are coming to the finish line at 90 miles an hour. It's just like we're barreling into it.
Well, when you guys, so just to like take a step back, you were here for my birthday.
Correct.
And
we found out 2 days before we left for Nashville that
and Tara's like, we're gonna move out. And I was like, no, we should ask them for like a week by week, or like, let's see if we can like take 6 months to kind of like get our bearings. And she's like, no, we're going to move out by the end of June. And I was just like, how the heck? And the whole time I'm thinking there's no way we're going to do that. But then you were like, okay, so on Monday we're going to start doing this. And I was like, okay, wow, we're really doing this. But I mean, I'm glad that even though it was chaotic, that we ended up doing it when we did. And I had to get my veneers fitted, which was why I wasn't at the it was my birthday, Phil's birthday, and then I had a oral procedure to finish my veneers. So I had like a lot on the calendar, but I almost feel like me being at home manning social media and while you guys were doing the move was like a pretty good division of time, because even Mom was like, if you weren't helping clear the inventory, we wouldn't have, gotten as much out the door. So,
well, we were supposed to move the inventory out last Wednesday and ship it to an Amazon fulfillment center, but we decided to start like marking down the website, and the stuff was selling so fast at those clearance prices that there was starting to run out of inventory to be able to ship.
Right.
So we ended up ordering these massive boxes to ship the inventory, and then when they came, one, we wouldn't have been able to ship them because they were big enough to like ship ourselves inside of. And two, we were running out of inventory to sell. So honestly, it worked out for the best that you were home selling and we were just, like fulfilling orders. But last Wednesday, between Wednesday and Thursday, we pulled and packaged 630 orders, which was probably the most chaotic 2 days of the move, because it was like the more that we fulfill here, the less we have to move to my house on Friday. So we tried to have everything cleaned up by Thursday. And then when we got all the orders cleaned up on Thursday, we realized there was a lot of stuff that was not on the website. So then we had to do a full round of like recounting everything, and you were like reselling new things. And so it was a wild couple of days. But
yeah, I feel like I don't remember it. It kind of just feels like one big blur, but I also am like grateful it's over.
Same.
But I do feel like, we've talked about this a lot in the podcast when it comes to work-life balance or just changes that have been made since the pandemic. And I think the thing that we've really realized is, I guess not to get too deep on like a book club episode, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, kind of around the time the three of us had a chat about the business, and we were kind of like, what do we want? Our health coach / like counselor, whatever you want to call her, she was like, what are you really looking for in life? Like, it, not even from like a business standpoint, but like, what is the word that you want to speak over your life? And I said, I want peace. And she was like, okay, outside of the business, like what can you actually control, and what what can you do to bring peace in your life, and like let's move towards those steps. But that was the same word that had come to like all three of us plus our mom when we'd been praying about the future of the business, is like how to make the business more sustainable and more like strong for the future, but also to bring peace to all of our homes and our families and marriages and stuff. And I just think kind of not even necessarily scaling it back, because we're not scaling it from like a volume standpoint. We're just scaling it from like a capability of like standpoint of what the three of us can really handle. I feel like that's the thing that we kind of found was instant relief and peace with the move. And as weird as it is to like be back in Tara's basement where we started, it's like this weird kind of like,
it's kind of comforting.
Yeah, it's kind of calming. Like it's like going back to the roots. Like I know a lot of our customers were like, I kind of miss the basement days, like kind of joked about that, and we're like, well, that's funny because we're going back to the basement. But there is kind of like a weird sense of like protection and like, I guess peace is the biggest word, like relief from the building. Because once COVID hit and we had downsized staff, we knew that building wasn't going to be ours forever. Like it was just too much space, and it really wasn't utilized once COVID hit. So it's been a really positive change. I think that the main thing is for our customers to know, like, not really a lot is going to change for y'all from like a forward facing experience. It was really just on the back end. So much for us was going to change.
Yeah. Cause I think a lot of people thought we were going out of business, especially when they saw the doors closing or wondering where we were moving to. And right. So, but yeah, from a customer perspective, nothing really will change at all. Like on the front end, it really is just like where we're located is going to be the difference.
Yeah.
So
I now have a rolling rack, a steamer, and lots of boxes in a guest room in my house.
I have inventory currently spread out all over my family room.
There's our steamer right there,
and our
rolling
packaging
rack
station behind us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually shipped samples all day Friday afternoon and had to go to the post office with like 3 huge tote bags that we used to use as our original like order bags. Back in the day, we used to use, like, our cousin Chelsea used to sell 31, which is that even a thing anymore?
No, I think it still is. I think it's just kind of run its course.
I see people still have them, but they're like Amazon versions of them. But so I have one with like flip flops on it, and one's like checkered. They're like really cheesy, but I actually use them like all the time, so they've become staples in my trunk. But yeah, we used to like always put our orders in those 31 bags and take them to the post office. And I was like, this just feels like the good old days. But Phil set up a little monitor, and by little, I mean huge, like to the right here on my desk. And I now have a shipping station here on this desk. And he turned on The Summer I Turned Pretty on Amazon Prime for me while I shipped orders. It was actually kind of gorgeous. But a little printer, everything's here.
Maddie's currently in the back bedroom hanging up samples.
Now that is like vintage R&R, like literally using
like, we're gonna
bed.
podcast.
Tess like, back there doing inventory and
like we're gonna podcast for the next hour, so you don't feel like you have to be so quiet. If you want, you can use the back bedroom.
I just remember like when the basement was getting jam packed, that people were using the shower curtain rod to hang inventory, and you called me and you were like, I think it's time we move into an office. And I was like, no, I really don't think we need to. And you're like, they've run out of space where they're usually using the bathroom to hang inventory. Like, it's time.
That was, well, we had 20 employees down here.
Yeah, we were on top of each other.
It was just the fact that I don't feel like we can fit like 3 people down here right now.
I don't know how we did that.
I don't know how we did it with 20.
Everybody was just like around a table in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
We had inventory it was just crazy.
Well, there was a desk up in your playroom that like Logan used to do our accounting, and she used to sit up there, and then 3 people would sit at the bar. You have like a little basement bar, so me and Jaden used to sit at the bar and we would do sales, and then like 3 or 4 people would be pulling orders. Yeah, and the rest would be around
sitting around the table and
packaging. 8 or 9 people packaging. So they didn't all work at the same time.
We were laughing though about how the fact that we had interns coming to my house for an internship, and I was like, that had to have been the strangest internship to apply for, that it's in someone's basement. Like, how weird.
Yeah, it was a wild experience. So anyways, Now we only have, so we have 2 full-time employees outside of us, and then we have 2 or 3 part-timers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we used to, I think at our highest we had 57. Is that
55.
What we said? 55.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy to think
I was
about.
just talking we had some friends over yesterday, and they were asking me how many we had. And I said, well, when we moved into the building, we had 55. And then we went down to 33 that first year, within the first year. And then with COVID, we went down to from 11, 33 right? To 13.
13, yeah.
Then we went from 13 to 7. And that's basically where we stayed.
Wow, that's crazy.
So,
yeah. So yes. The ones that are still here are going back to the basics.
But you know what's funny is the ones that are still here were never, outside of Sarah, weren't here during the basement days.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's so.
They all joined us when we were at the first building.
Yeah.
So anyway, but there is a sense of comfort, I think, being back home. It feels very restful. I think that's kind of the, piece that we were talking about. But I think what we're most excited for is just like seeing where we go from here, because there's kind of a new dynamic as far as what the business is going to look like, and where we're going to go as far as, even how we buy our inventory and not having to house it, just all of those things with not having the pressures of the building changes.
It kind of feels like the feeling of a small business again, because like my mom keeps texting me and being like, do you want me to come over and help you take photos today? She's like, do we need to package samples? Do you want to unbox inventory? And just like things getting shipped to your garage or my front door. Like, I just feel like there's a weird sense of like back to the old days that we had with working out of our houses. And it's funny because when I like look at businesses on TikTok that have like blown up, most of them are still trying to figure out how to make it work from the garage, because it's so expensive to ship inventory from your own building, because you incur so many costs and stuff. I don't know if you saw, I sent you a video of this girl who went viral from making like graphic sweatshirts. And she remodeled her parents' garage into a really nice like warehouse space, and then she rented like a pod to put her extra inventory in next to the garage, and her whole family helps her ship orders. And it's actually really cute.
That's funny.
And her designs are really cool. Like one of them said like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and then on the sleeve it said like, here's where I wipe my tears. So it's like this. I was like, that is so like genius. But her inventory was really cute, and she was talking about her launches and how like TikTok really got her there, but she was like, as long as I can keep it in the family, that's like what she wanted to accomplish. So anyways, I love the idea of like the American dream and the entrepreneurship of like just shaping it the way that it makes sense for you and your family. And I feel like that's something we've learned over the years, is that like having a big staff or a big building doesn't necessarily equate to success. Like that's not, I think, our goals have changed
too. Yeah, I think when we first started and we were growing, I think that it was like sky's the limit of like what we could become, and wanting to be like a Vici or Pink Lily or something like that. And I think we've gone from, I think the last couple of years, have humbled us. I think egos have definitely gone out of the way.
Yes, thanks.
But I think now, like you said, it's really more, it's like something that can be balanced, that can work within our families. And our biggest goal at this point is to be able to work 4 days a week.
Yeah. That is actually, I've been talking about that a lot. I'm like, I told my mom, I was like, the thing that I feel like is the best part of what we've changed is that we could work less, not necessarily like work more to get bigger, is that like we can have really sustainable incomes and businesses, and we could possibly have a 3-day weekend every week. And mom was like, that would be great. Like, this is big goals here. And I was joking about, I feel like the biggest thing for me is like I'm catching up on like 6 years of having no downtime, and I'm like trying to teach myself the art of doing nothing. And so I've been spending a lot of time with our retired parents, and they've taught me a lot about the art of doing nothing. And mom's like, or I don't know if it was mom or dad, but she was like, you better be careful. You're going to like retire at 33 because you enjoy it so much. I'm like, honestly, I might.
He's like, I have coffee at 6 and then I have a second cup at 8, do my devotions.
I got a nap at like 11 a.m. and then do a quick workout, hit some golf. Farmers market on Sunday. Like it's great. Like I'm just like, I understand why people want to retire. This is literally
I'm
the
so
life.
impressed that dad went to the farmers market.
It was his idea. That's
what's funny. But you can't buy in bulk there.
Well, you can. It's just expensive. But he did walk very fast. Like he kind of stressed me out because dad, he's like, everything's like a race. So we like did a lap around all the vendors, and then we went inside, and they have almost like a food court situation, and they have a Jenny's ice cream. So of course we got Jenny's, and then we walked back out, and basically the whole goal was to survey which farmer had the best tomatoes. That was which surprises no one that was the goal. So, and my dad also really loves kohlrabi, and it's like kind of hard to find. It's this like form of really
cabbage.
Yeah, it's like cabbage,
but it's like very
like a hard cabbage.
It's like the root of the cabbage. Yeah, pretty much.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's dense,
fibrous. Yeah,
it's fibrous. Nobody had those.
Oh, they didn't.
No,
interesting.
Weird. Anyways, but yeah, that was the Friday or Sunday.
Is that your what's good? We haven't even started the podcast.
Well, I felt like since it's been like 3 weeks since we'd podcasted, we
catch everyone up
a little like. And what's funny is like when I listen to podcasts, my favorite part is when they're just like gabbing. Like I just really like the beginning when they're just gabbing. Sometimes it depends. If I really like the hosts, I like their gab. Girl with No Job calls it LARPing. Like if they get stuck on a topic, she's like, I think we've LARPed enough about this. But yeah, I feel like that's what people want to know is the updates of our life. Or maybe they don't. Okay, do you guys want to start in on what's good?
Well, yesterday was my birthday. I was born on the 4th of July, and I cannot stand the holiday.
What gets screwed every year?
I prefer to stay indoors. I don't care about the fireworks, but I do like hanging out with my family. So I was able to have some just chill time with the kids, and
at least you always get your birthday off.
I do always get my birthday off. That's and it's true. Always in the summer, so it's always sunny. Weather's usually nice. So yeah, my what's good was my birthday yesterday. Isaac got me new AirPods. I literally oh my gosh, my AirPods, my right one would never work, and then you couldn't tell if it was charging or not, because the light on the actual case of the AirPod wouldn't turn on. And so I would go to put them in my ears for my workout because I have to have my AirPods in my ears, listening to music, a book, or a podcast. I have to.
I'm the same
Otherwise
way.
I won't do my workout. And so I went to go put them in, and it wasn't showing up on my phone. They weren't connecting. And I was like freaking out. I was like, Isaac, I have to do my workout. I've got to get this done. And he's like, here, just use my big headphones, actual headphones. I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll do that. My ears were starting to get on fire. After
they get sweaty, and then also, did they give you a headache? Because I used to have Beats, and I don't know if it's just because I have a huge head, because I have an unusually big head and a lot of hair, so I just feel like the circumference of my head is just really large. But I used to have rose gold Beats that I thought were so cute, and I actually bought them for Phil, which is even weirder, and he didn't want them, so then I kept them. It was a year where we both epically failed on each other's anniversary gifts, and he took mine back. As I was opening it, he goes, "You're gonna hate this. It's ugly. Let's just return it." And I hadn't even opened it yet. Anyways, but yeah, they gave me such a headache that I felt like I couldn't use them.
Well, and it has a cord. These are ones that you hook into your phone. So they're on my head. That my ears are sweating like crazy. I feel like my ears are on fire. They're hooked into my phone, so it keeps getting caught on my dumbbells, and I'm like, this is annoying.
Not fun.
And Isaac had mentioned, he's like, I'm gonna go run an errand. And I was like, okay, fine, because I had the kids all down by me and they were running around. He comes back literally 30 minutes later and was like, happy birthday. I was
like, go to Best Buy?
Nice.
Yes. So he ran and grabbed them, and immediately 100% better than my old ones. I don't know what we're up with my old ones. I must have dropped them too many times, but that's what's good. My birthday and getting new AirPods.
And you look tan. I feel like your extreme sunburn is turning. Well, your face looks really tan.
I got real burned. It was really stupid. I thought my base. I overestimated my base tan, and definitely sat outside
in a UV9.
Yeah, UV9. It was dumb. I didn't put on sunscreen. Don't come at me. I know it was dumb. Clearly, I learned my lesson. My whole body is like one big bright red burn. But maybe it'll turn into a tan, and that will be my what's good for next time.
That's funny. We hosted all weekend. So we had our cousins over Friday night. So Whit was here Friday. And then we also had friends over 4th of July. So Whit was here again yesterday. And I learned that if pellets run out of your smoker, it will shut the smoker off. And I didn't know how long my pork shoulder had been sitting in a smoker, not cooking. So we weren't sure if we were going to have any meat to eat that night because we finished cooking it in the oven. So thankfully it was done with a half hour to spare. Turned out fine.
So funny.
Didn't have a lot of smoke flavor, but it was good.
No, it was so good. We're actually still munching on it.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
much.
Well, so I ended up getting a ton of pork shoulder because one of the families ended up not being able to come. And so we ended up having like a whole roast left over. But I always panic and think that I don't have enough food, or I start feeling like I don't have enough of one thing. And so I start adding things to the mix. And so I prepped food all day Saturday, and then I cleaned basically all day Sunday. And then I finished the food that I had to do last minute on Monday. So it was like a full weekend of like hosting, prepping, cleaning. I got all my laundry done. It was amazing. Wow. So I think I folded like 7 baskets on Monday morning.
Busy little bee.
So
I
it
do
was fun.
feel like you do feel more peaceful.
I do.
Yeah.
Do I seem more restful?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's like a new wave of like ease to your
I haven't sent a panic text recently.
Well, not just that. I just mean like in your overall demeanor, you just seem happier.
Mm.
That's what happens when you don't have such a wide overhead expense.
Yeah.
Just minimize it. And she's like, yes,
I do think the closing of the building has taken a huge pressure off because that was just a lot to carry. But I also think getting back to hosting has made me like
brought her back to herself.
Yeah. It's just something that I haven't done in a long time. I feel like we've been in the fog of children and like, I haven't done it. Plus things have been tight, it's been a tight couple of years. And so, I just feel like I'm happiest when people are in my home and they're eating good food and they feel, welcome and invited. Yes.
That's great.
And, hosting really, there is like an art to hosting that a lot of people don't have. Like I've been like to people's houses that don't host very often and you're like that maybe did it out of obligation or maybe, you know what I mean? And there's definitely like a comfort and a peace that comes in someone's home that like knows how to host well. Actually Mom and I were just talking about this, like things that you like do to make it feel more peaceful and go the extra mile. And I feel like my biggest compliments is when someone compliments like the way they felt in my home. Like that makes me feel so good when someone's like, I just feel really at rest here. Cause that's like the goal, obviously.
Yeah. You want to create a homey environment for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, and I feel like a lot of that stems around like good food. Cause I feel like a lot of times people are not used to good food. And I think, I mean,
you're like, you haven't lived unless you've stayed at my house. Honestly.
But I do. I mean, when I think about it, you go to a cookout, a lot of times people pick up something and bring it, right? Like I'll grab a pie at the store. I'll grab like a bag of chips or something like that.
Oh, no. We don't do that at your house.
No.
We homemake everything.
Don't you dare come in with some pre-bought cupcakes from the store.
Like, here's my crap cupcakes. And you're like, oh, great. Those aren't going out today. Those are going in the trash.
But I do think like there's something about going the extra mile with things that people find like homey because they don't get that a lot.
Well, they feel special. You walk in and you've done all this work and you immediately feel like treasured.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you walk in the door, you're like, oh,
yeah,
thanks.
I would agree.
One of Brian's friends said that our house is his favorite place to come for cookouts.
Well,
I thought that was a high compliment.
Yeah, I mean, if the food's good and you have a really amazing pool, like
you
have like the two components that make a great outdoor thing. I have a really funny story yesterday. Okay, I'm exposing myself and telling a funny story at the same time. Our parents have an amazing community pool that like literally nobody uses. And obviously if you're like a friend of the family, I don't think anyone really cares that you like go. And 99% of the time when we go, mom is with us. But yesterday she didn't feel like going. So me and Phil and our best friends, like a couple, went to go swim. There was like a small party with kids happening the first hour we were there, and then they all left. And then this was probably like at 2:30. This guy came to the side of the fence and he's like, can y'all let me in? And I was like, oh, sure. Like, I thought he forgot his key or like something. So I go let him in, and this guy didn't bring a towel, and he didn't have a Yeti as a cooler, which you can just tell, like, he probably didn't live in this neighborhood because he had, like, the old school, like, lunchbox looking cooler, and it was full of Bud Light. And I was like, I feel like he doesn't live here, and he just asked us to, like, let him in. But I also don't live here, so, like, who can I like, can't, like, be mad at him. But it was so funny because I think he's done it before, because he knew how to work the speaker, and he like turned his phone on to like the pavilion speakers and like blasted like 4th of July playlists, which was actually kind of nice. And he got a phone call, and his friend was like, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, I'm just hanging out at such and such neighborhood pool. And I was like, I bet he like works in the neighborhood and just happens to know that nobody ever goes. And it was just so funny. I was like, he's done this before. This is a working man.
It's a routine.
He knows this pool. He's done this. And I was like, honestly, it would be so easy to go to a neighborhood pool and just ask someone to let you in and be like, I forgot my key.
Yeah, it's true.
It was a really, really great life hack, you know. You can just not live there and get to use this pool.
Well, now that we've spent 35 minutes on our recap of our lives.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get to talk about my good.
Oh, I thought your retirement day was your good.
Yeah. No, that was good. Well, all I was going to say is I feel like there's been a lot of good in my life lately. I
Putting your teeth?
Yeah, I do. There's some things that still need to be done. So I don't have my permanent implant, which is a whole thing. And, you know, but that, and then I wanted to get that out of the way before we started IVF. So I officially started the process. Just a lot of people have been asking me for updates on Instagram. We're filling out like paperwork and getting like dates set to actually go for the first official consultation. But they like you fill out this huge, enormous profile online for both of you. And it's just taken a lot of time to do it. And with the holidays, they're not answering their phone because I think they've been out of the office. But, so that's happening, which is just kind of weird to think about. Our best friends their due date is tomorrow. So just like our life is really changing, I feel like, in that aspect, which is going to be really exciting. But yeah, I've been reading a lot, and Phil's been filling in with, do you guys know the artist Cole Swindell? Have you ever
know the name?
I guess he's like really big. I didn't realize he has like 12 number ones. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize this guy. But anyways, his drummer's family had a baby, so Phil's been filling in with him. So I've had a lot of weekends like alone to just kind of be with my thoughts and my books. So it's been good for me to have like that quiet.
Did you find out with like Joey that you don't have a lot of thoughts?
Yeah, I don't, honestly. Just
and there's your friends reference.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of thoughts. But just being able to have that quiet time, I feel like has been important, because we have been running at full speed ahead this year, just trying to make decisions for the change of the business, which I think has been good. So yeah, there's a lot of good happening in our lives, I feel like, which is good to focus on that and not feel, like we said, a sense of unrest, which is nice.
I think just also some of the rest comes in just having a decision finally made. You know, totally. I think so much of the limbo feels like unrest because you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know exactly, you know, the path that you're going to take. And that feels a lot like, it just feels like nervous energy, because you're trying to, you know, you need to make a decision, but you don't know when. And so I think that that's where the rest comes from, is because it's finally like, okay, we made the decision, we move forward, we close that chapter, and now here we are. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I love that perspective. It's nice. And it's nice to all be on the same page with it, and that all of us feel good about the future. So anyways, that will wrap up the episode. We will be back on a regular scheduled program now that we are back to the basement days, and we'll have more content for you guys. So we love you, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
See ya.